Yo, so after a week break, chapter 131 is here, and we got a pretty interesting chapter, mainly with Akane and even Ai's mom showing up. We also got a color page, which is actually gonna be the cover for the next volume. It's Miyako with her thoughts during the 15-year lie movie. It's actually nice to see Miyako's finally on one of them. But yeah, I'm gonna just get started with the chapter. It starts with a look into Ai's past in the film, with her saying she'll tell the story of herself and a certain other guy. Now, she starts by explaining how she became an idol. As we know, she grew up in an institution since her mother couldn't take care of her. Ai grew tired of living there though and ran away to Tokyo. She didn't think of the consequences and thought that since she was cute, everything would be fine. But then we see her meet with a certain person who happens to be a young Ichigo, played by Melt. It's a bit weird, but he says he'll treat her to anything if she just listens to his story. I mean, it's a bit sus, but free food I guess. But nah, we see Ai giving us a bit more context through the script it seems. She says that she was placed in the institution cause her mom got caught stealing. It wasn't supposed to be for a long time, but her mother never returned for her, even after she was released. Ai was all alone now, so she wondered if Ichigo really wanted to love someone too. While repeatedly projecting love through the saying of I love you, that lie could one day become the truth. That's what I believed could happen, and it's a key reason why she became an idol. She wanted to love somebody. However, it got difficult from there. You see, the facility where I was kept prohibited underage labor, and she also had to figure out things like guardianship, which was complicated. We also got some panels of I practicing on her own and to the side as Akane and Memcho laugh together as their characters. Then we see some older woman with a cigar in her hands saying she won't accept guardianship. She then goes off about Ai's mom saying that she's a really shitty person and wants nothing to do with her. She even calls Ai's mom a loser who basically flirted with men for a living. Like damn, the woman keeps talking crazy. And Ichigo has enough and just slams like 10,000 bucks on the table. He's like, aight, just lend him the name. The woman is of course focused on the money as Ichigo explains that Ai will be under her protection by name only, and she'll have to deal with the social worker sometimes. After that, he says he won't cause any trouble. Then this woman makes a counter offer. She'll take Ai under her care when it's time, but she'll only consider it if Ichigo pays twice as much. She really asking for $20,000. Of course, Ichigo's at a loss for words at first. That's a huge investment. But he goes through with it as we see him later telling Ai that the deal went through. It's a bit late, but he still officially welcomes Ai to be Komachi. Then that's where the scene ends. We then see some of the girls talking about the scene later, with Memcho asking how much of this is true. Khan suggests probably around 50% or so, and it's also a bit hard to investigate a story like this in much detail from over a decade ago. However, Akane believes 80, or maybe even 90% of it may be true. From the beginning, she believes Aqua must have surely at least attained some level of answers. He didn't know everything about his father, but could at least assume his personality. That's why Aqua could believe Seijuro Yorihara might have been his father. Kinda still has some doubts though, saying that this is a broad story unless you ask the people involved. Aqua does exactly just that, as we see him sitting and listening to a certain person. This person is none other than Ai's actual mom. As she says, she loved that child. After all, Ai was the only daughter she had in this world. It should be obvious that she loved her, and she even planned to go and get her one day. And we can actually see her, our first look at Ai's mom, Ayumi Hoshino, and she looks depressed as fuck. Also kinda cool how you can't say Ayumi without saying Ai. That's a pretty cool coincidence, but back to Aqua, who asks why. And this part is even crazier. Ayumi says that the man she was dating at the time, even considering marriage, started showing interest in Ai. Like bruh, I was like 8 or 9 at the time. That's actually insane. You can't even defend that, but apparently at the time, I had already grown into a woman and a very beautiful young lady. But you know what? Her mother was actually getting jealous of her. Like what the fuck? She was angry at her man and jealous at her own 9-year-old daughter. I still can't believe what I'm reading. Hikaru needs to do his thing and kill whoever that creep was. And I don't know, maybe the mother needs to go too. But after that, the family broke apart and Ayumi never saw Ai since she was arrested. Even Aqua looks stunned by what he's hearing. Like, this shit's crazy. Seems like if the situation repeated itself though, Ayumi would do the same thing. She felt she had no choice but to keep her distance and protect Ai from being harmed. It's fine for her though, and she doesn't think it's atonement for them to make it into a movie. As Aqua leaves, Ayumi's last words are to thank Aqua for coming, as she never thought she had the right to see her grandchild's face. But it's not over yet. Guess who's lurking nearby? It's Akane, and she says that talent can really influence people's lives for better or worse. Aqua questions why she's even there, and Akane says she's just doing the same thing as him. She even jabs at him, slightly, by saying he's good at snooping around and following people. Then you know what? Akane reminds Aqua that she said she was gonna stop him, and now we finally see her making some moves. Akane also says that it's normal for someone to follow if he suddenly goes to a rural place like this. Aqua then says her normal ain't normal, which is kinda true and a bit funny. Akane even agrees by saying she wished she could be born as a normal girl, but it can't be helped. I was probably the same way too, she believes. Akane then reveals that she's actually been doing some research on Ayumi, but it turns out there isn't anything special about her. Just a mother who was abandoned by her own child after years of abuse. It's kinda sad. Akane tells Aqua they should just go. There's nothing there anymore, which I actually took as also meaning Ayumi's just completely broken now, reduced to nothing but a husk. Aqua with his double black starring on seems to contemplate something for a second, before agreeing to leave with Akane. The chapter itself ends with them leaving and Ayumi seeming to watch them go. Or maybe it's the Coral Girl. I'm just gonna assume it's Ayumi because they're leaving her house. If that's the case, Ayumi was just basically listening to Akane saying that stuff about her. But you know, Akane don't care. Nice to see Akane back in action too, like literally, she's back in the field doing her investigation, and even Aqua can't stop her. It seems like they're on better terms too, but also, the rest of this chapter also has some crazy stuff, particularly Ayumi's creep of a boyfriend. Like nah, what are Aqua and Manga actually cooking right now? But you know, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait even more cause there's another break next week. Yeah, I know, break last week, chapter, and then break next week. It sucks, but you know, at first, I really thought that was actually Ai we saw until halfway into the chapter when we saw it was just them filming. Ruby is really owning that role right now. We just need to see Aqua's Hikaru now too. Also, it was really surprising to see Ayumi. I never expected we actually see Ai's mom in the manga. But yeah, speaking of which, what do y'all think about Ayumi? Is she worse than Marina? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I got some more Oshi content here too, you can check out as well. Peace.